Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a proper makeup tutorial, like a good old-fashioned makeup tutorial on this look. This is a play on the It Girl makeup trend, so really emphasizing the eyes and lips specifically. I do feel like this is a very universally flattering makeup look because you can tweak the colors and shades to match your personal skin tone or preferences. And you can also use these techniques to accentuate your own natural eye shape, your own natural lip shape. I'm just kind of helping you along the way. I love the way this look turned out. I think it's going to make you feel super confident and it just enhances your natural beauty. I always like to start off by prepping the skin at least 10 to 15 minutes beforehand. If you don't have that much time, just enough time to let your skincare products actually fully soak in. Because I do feel like with skincare, a lot of times that can contribute to makeup pilling. And you just want to ensure that you're giving those products the full time to actually absorb and not just be sitting on top of the skin. Now that I have all my skincare done, I'm going to prime my base with this product from Mara. This is the Mara Pearl Peptide Glaze. I do about 2 pumps into the hand and just apply to the skin. Now this is not as heavy as a serum, but it's also not as light as an essence. It sits right in between those 2 products, so I feel like it's perfect for makeup prep and it keeps the skin feeling nice and moisturized. And because this product is so lightweight, I feel like it's quickly absorbed and you don't have to wait too long for you to start with your makeup application. Just kind of leaves you with that really nice, bouncy, plump looking skin, and then you have a little bit of glow from the pearl as well. You could go in with like a more targeted primer if that's something that you'd prefer, like a mattifying primer in the T-zone or something even more illuminating if that's what you like, but I feel like this is a really good starting point for our makeup. For my base makeup today, I'm going to be using the Givenchy Prism Libre Glow Serum Foundation. I've been obsessed with this. I think this is one of the best new foundation launches in years. It's so good. It's very lightweight and truly does feel like a serum on the skin. I'm just going to put this on a palette. I'm going to mix in a drop of my Dior Forever Glow because I do want the skin to be really nice and glowy. So maybe like half a pump, really not much at all. Okay, and then just mixing the 2 together on my Haus Labs foundation brush. I've really been enjoying this foundation brush. Really nice with foundations, but also with tinted moisturizers. And I'm just going to start in the center of the face, kind of going after any of the areas that I have some visible post-acne hyperpigmentation. This Givenchy foundation, I feel like applies the best with a brush that's a little bit more dense. You can use a sponge as well. But because the product itself is so lightweight, I feel like a dense brush really does the job. Honestly, if I have a formula that I feel like I don't know what brush to use, I will almost always try the Haus Labs one because it's just such an easy brush. So I want to kind of stipple and shear this out all over the skin. We're not going for a full coverage look. We want an all over evened out complexion, but then we will go in and spot conceal on any of the problem areas. So you really just want to focus on evening out the skin tone as a whole on the base. The other thing I love so much about the Givenchy foundation is that it feels so lightweight. You'll kind of forget that you even have it on. Next, I'm going to prime the eyes. I'm using Urban Decay Shadow Primer Potion. Now, if you don't have oily eyelids, you can totally skip this step, but I do like how this will keep the oils on your eyelids from breaking down the shadows throughout the day, and I feel like it also just helps so much with creasing. And also, honestly, mascara smudging as well. I feel like when I skip out on my eyeshadow primer, I always have little bits of mascara on my top lash line, so I love how this will just kind of stop that from happening. Now let's do concealer. I'm going to use the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear. This is the all-over concealer. I'm going to apply this on the outer corners of the eyes, basically anywhere that you have visible darkness or you want to create some lift. So I also like to go after the inner corners of the eyes. I want to go right under the shadowiest part of my eye. Now this concealer has really great coverage, but it's also super lightweight and it pretty much self-sets. So depending on your skin type, like if you are a little bit more dry leaning like I am, I think this is a really nice everyday concealer because I don't always have to set it with powder if I don't want to. It doesn't always need to be set with powder, which is really nice. So I'm going to use that, and then just for a little bit of visible brightness on the outer corners of the eyes, I'm going to take the Hourglass concealer. I'm going to put this kind of like on the high point of the face so that I can create a little bit more visible lift and the illusion of higher cheekbones without having to use something shiny like a proper, highlighting powder or just like a highlighter stick in general. This is going to add a little bit of extra dimension to that part of the face. And if you wanted this look to be like a little bit more glam, you could take the lighter shade on the center of the face and all of that, and you'd have something a little bit more dramatic. Now, with concealer, I feel like don't go in and blend it right away. Give it a moment to kind of chill, let it marinate on your base. So to occupy us during this time, I'm going to move into working on brows. I'm using the Anastasia Brow Wiz pencil, and the reason that I feel like you should let the concealer have some time to marinate is you'll see the formula will kind of transform, and it's not going to necessarily stretch as far on the skin or blend out as sheer. You actually get to keep the coverage and use a little bit less concealer than you probably are used to. And I feel like you get a better feel for the formula itself, the way it's gonna set. Now, I would just wait anywhere between like 1 to 4 minutes and then kind of see how that starts blending out. So I just typically fill in my brows with these front parts. I actually just recently lightened my brows a bit, and I think I like it for the summertime. I just did like a little bit of bleach and lightened them a couple shades, and I think it looks a little bit softer. Okay, next I'm taking an Hourglass concealer brush, and what I want to do when I'm blending out this concealer is press and stipple. So as you can see, we want to be blending up and out. We're not really trying to be blending down because we want to keep those highlighted areas on the base in this upward and outward form. Now, when you're blending out the concealer, I also feel like stippling is huge. We don't want to be, you know, just dragging this light color all over the base. It's important that when you're using a brightening concealer to add dimension to the base, that you're trying to keep the concealer where you've actually placed it. I like this Hourglass brush because it's kind of shaped like a little kitten paw, and it just fits into all the nooks and crannies on the face perfectly. Then you can go back in with your foundation brush with no extra product on it, but what you can do is tap onto the areas of the face where the foundation is meeting with the concealer. That way you get that nice gradient perfected blend, and you don't see any like lines on the base from the brightening concealer. So just a nice little tap all over those areas will do the job. If you love a simple eyeshadow look, the It Girl eyeshadow look is totally going to be the one for you because it's very easy to recreate. So I'm just going to take whatever bronzer it is that you're going to be wearing on your face. I would pick that up on a fluffy brush. This is a Morphe M5402. And I'm going to run this right on the lid and just blend upward so that I get a soft gradient. But we're adding that definition before we go in with the shadow so that when we actually do the bronzer on our face, all the tones kind of play nicely together and match. So really just taking that on the entire eye space basically, and just gently blend towards the outer corner as well. Then I'm taking 2 of the Westman Atelier eye pods. I'm going to use To Buck. This eyeshadow formula is beautiful. All you need to do is pick it up with your fingertip and press it onto the lid from inner corner all the way to the outer corner, and just really focusing this shade on the lid itself. Okay, then going in with this lighter pearly shade. This is such a beautiful shade. I'm obsessed with this one. I'm just gonna take this right on the arch of the brow to add a little bit of shimmer. And then just taking my fluffy brush and blending that out. I think brown eyeliner is a little bit more suited for this look, so I'm going to use the Prada eyeliner. This one's in the shade Wood. And what I'm going to do is apply this to the top lash line. Now this is a long-lasting pencil, so you kind of want to work slightly quickly. Okay, going in with a little Bobbi Brown eyeliner brush, and I'm going to quickly blend this out. We're also going to run this on the top lash line. That way you can really give the illusion of a much fuller upper lash line. Now this next step, I don't think is completely necessary, but I really like to do this pretty much every time I do like a smudgy line on the eye. I like to take a little bit of liquid liner. This is the Dior Backstage liner. Now this one is in brown as well, but it has a super fine tip, so I can really get into that lash line and perfect it and make my lashes look even more full. So I just kind of like touch it to the lash line. I'm going to go all the way into that inner corner, all the way to the outer corner. It's subtle, but I promise it makes a really big difference. Now let's add some definition to the base. So I'm going to contour. I'm using the Isamaya contour stick. This is the sculpting stick in the shade Maple. This is pretty pigmented, so a little bit goes a really long way. And I'm just kind of mapping out where I want to contour. I also really love how precise this contour is. Now when I'm contouring on the cheeks, I like to contour at a little bit of a vertical. Again, just to give the illusion of higher cheekbones. A little bit on the hairline like that. Do the jaw too. And now I'm just using the Patrick Ta contour brush to blend out this nose. And then stippling on the contour of the face with my Mario F4. The smaller side of the angled two, I just want to press this contour, kind of create a little bit more of a defined cheek and a defined jaw. Moving into bronzing the skin, I'm going to use the new Benefit Hula Wave Cream Bronzer. It's actually more of like a bronzing balm. It's not quite as pigmented as some other cream bronzers, so I really like how you can play around with the intensity of this. I feel like I have a dog hair on my face, and yes, I do. You don't know an itch until you've had a dog hair on your face. And to apply this, I'm using the Benefit brush. You guys, this bronzer is so pretty. It actually looks like tanned skin. And I'm just going to apply this to all the high points of the face. That actually looks like tanned skin. Like, it looks like you've been out in the sun and you have this gorgeous, beautiful tan. So when you're bronzing, you want to focus on the high points of the face, right on the apples, and then on the tops of the cheekbones. Think of where the sun would naturally tan you. And that's where you're going to put this bronzer. Do you see how it's like nice and light and sheer? And it's just giving my skin that little bit of color, but it's not adding so much intensity. Now, that's because you can take just like a tiny bit of this. But if you really wanted to bronze up the base and get something a little bit more dramatic, you can also build it up on top of itself. It's one of my new favorite products. Bronzers. Why did I say product? Well, I guess it is a product, but it's one of my new favorites. I've just been having so much fun with this. All the shades are good too. But like, do you see how it's just kind of giving me like a little bit of toastiness? Really pretty. I think this shade too, I used medium deep. It's got a little bit of red to it. And I love the way it just replicates tan on my skin tone. If you're okay with having this stay a little bit on the dewy side, you don't need to set it down, but I want to keep this locked and loaded in place. So I'm going to set this down with some powder bronzer. I'm using the Armani powder bronzer, and I'm picking this up on an Hourglass powder brush, and I'm just going to lightly dust this powder bronzer right over top to keep everything in place. That is a good bronzer duo, if I say so myself. I haven't tried the Armani with the Benefit one yet, but I actually really like the way that looks because the Armani one still has a red undertone to it as well. So it set that really nicely. Now for blush, we're also going to keep this really subtle because the main focus is going to be on the eyes and the lips. So I'm going to use something that's not too competitive on the base and is just going to give a subtle flush. This is the Westman Atelier powder blush. Super exciting, they have powder blushes now. This is the duo in Suede and Sable. We love these types of colors. I am just mixing the two tones, and I'm using a Pat McGrath blush brush to apply this. I'm going to focus this right on the apple of the cheek and blend back toward the hairline. A little bit on the nose too. We're just going to highlight the high points of the face in the center. So like not the tops of the cheekbones because we don't want to emphasize skin. So I'm using one of the House Labs highlights. This one's in the shade Glassy Champagne. Glassy Champagne Quartz, actually. Okay, so we're just going to take this right on the center of the nose. Now this is a cream highlight, but it actually doesn't stay sticky, which I really like. It's balmier, so like it doesn't fully set down like your typical liquid highlights, but it also doesn't stay sticky. And this one specifically, this is such a pretty color. Quickly going to give this makeup a little bit of a set. I'm going to take the Iconic London Prep Set Glow Mist. This is the one in the pearl color. I love the bronzy one too, but we're going to use this one today and just do a light mist all over the base. While I'm waiting for the setting mist to dry down, we're going to do the Makeup by Mario or the Mary Phillips. It's the lip lift technique where we try to create visible fullness on the lips from Cupid's bow upward and center of lower lip downward. So this is really going to give the emphasis on like enlarging the lips and making them look a little bit more full. So right here at the base of the bottom of my lower lip, I'm going to overline outside of my lip line. And then for these two outer corners, we're going to stay within that natural lip line. All right, now for your Cupid's bow, this is where you're going to overline. And I like to go pretty far outside of my lip line. And then lining the corners again within the lip line. And we're just gonna shade the outer corners. This is a longwear lip pencil, so it's actually going to stay put. And we can put gloss on top without it wearing away quite as quickly. Now let's do a little bit of setting powder. I'm going to use the Givenchy Prism Libre Pressed. This is super exciting. They did come out with a pressed version. This is shade number 3. I like this one because it's a little bit more brightening. I'm picking this up on a puff, but if you want more of a finishing powder effect, you can do something loose and fluffy, and it won't be quite as intense of a set down. But I want to lock this concealer in place, and I also want to brighten underneath the eyes. So I'm just pressing this underneath my nose and on the under eye space, right around the corners of the nose, corners of the mouth. Anywhere you want to tone down the shine, this will do that, but it won't take away the natural glow, which is amazing. If you want to add like a little bit of brightening right under the cheekbone to kind of create a little bit more lift. And then I'll just knock off the excess powder with the Hourglass dual-ended brush. This gives such a pretty airbrushed finish to the skin I can't get over. I'm just excited because I thought that the new formula of the loose was going to just be the only one we had. So when they came out with the pressed, I was very, very happy about that. Now we'll set the brows down. I'm using the Kosas Air Brow. I went to Sephora yesterday and I actually picked this up in a lighter shade. I got it in medium chocolate this time, just because I did lighten the brows. You guys, this is still my absolute favorite brow gel ever. I just really don't see myself liking anything more than I like the Kosas Air Brow. I just usually do a couple coats of the Kosas Air Brow. Okay, let's give the lashes a good curl. I'm using this one from Rouge. I'm going to use the Gucci mascara. This one's in the shade Eve Black. Typically a wand I wouldn't go after. I do feel like the formula is a little bit wet, but wow, this looks like lash extensions. What I do is just kind of take the wand and wipe it on this so that I can remove a little bit of the product. And just running this through the lashes. I feel like the little wand is very comb-like, so it just gives really nice individual definition to each lash and keeps them nice and fanned out. So this is going to give you more noticeable length and volume without getting clumpy. And then I'm also going to take this gently on the lower lash line, or not lower lash line, but gently on the lower lashes. I feel like you guys know this, but I film in natural light. The weather has been so crazy. There's been 2 separate rainstorms since we started doing our makeup together, and now I feel like the sun is coming out again. Crazy. Probably should get some professional lighting so that I can have consistent lighting. Glossy lips are back in a big way. I feel like it's all about gloss right now. I'm absolutely loving it and loving all the new lip gloss launches. One of my favorites, if not my absolute favorite new launch, has been the Make Up For Ever Super Boost lip glosses. This one's in the shade Anywhere Caffeine. And I also love the pencil of that. But the shape of this is so nice and it feels so luxurious on the lips. And they just have such a gorgeous cushiony formula. Like they actually smooth out all the lines in your lips. honestly, even the clear one from this line is so good. Now let's just do some finishing touches, kind of bring the skin back to life. I'm going to use the Buell and Rudy Freckle Pen. And I just use this to bring all of my freckles and all of the moles I have on my face back to life. And of course, just add a couple in, just like a couple little cheeky freckles. And I feel like this is one of the most important steps in the makeup routine. Kind of take a step back, see if you want to add a little bit more bronzer, a little bit more blush, just kind of reassess the look, because the finishing touches are really what brings the makeup look to life. And you just need to go in and kind of like perfect things, kind of like move them around a bit. Okay, you guys, this is the finished 2025 It Girl makeup look. I absolutely love this look. I love how it's really about defining the eyes and the lips. So really accentuating your natural eye shape with the eyeliner, elongating the lashes, and then the lips. I think this is universally flattering because it's more about the technique, and you can tweak and change these depending on your eye shape, your lip shape. And this is the type of look that you could literally wear any time of year. It's seasonless, it's classic. I think this is such a good makeup look, so I'm going to list and link everything for you in the description box. I'd love it so much if you'd leave a comment just to say hi, or if you have any makeup tutorials that you want to see me recreate, or any specific makeup looks that you want to see videos on, leave them down below and I will add them to my list. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching this one. Bye guys.